And just tell Dino's that we referred you.
This is John LeBaron with Chimney Check Professionals. This is the video portion of my inspection. This is where I take a look at the inner walls of the chimney system, otherwise known as the flue. I also take a cursory view of the fireplace itself. Based on what I can see, I see the box here with no real staining, and then I see this here with a lot of black. I believe that's just basically painted. It could be partially due to smoke staining, but I kind of doubt it considering I don't see a lot over here. So the appearance is that this system will draft well. The smoke staining that I see here, that very well could be paint. Looking up into the system, it's certainly been used. It's a little bit dirty, but certainly not horribly so. We do not have a damper. A damper is a requirement as of, I believe, 1961. But you know that there's no requirement to retrofit it. And when you look at the glass doors will do the same thing as the damper, which is really energy conservation. They're trying to stop the air from inside the living space from getting sucked into the fireplace and out the top, thus using more energy. It also helps prevent backdrafting as well, which is a good thing to help prevent also. This right here is the lintel. This is the breast area. Basically, the breast is the surface is directly above the lintel, opposite this surface here. What I look for is I hope to find no gaps, such as what we find here, which is pretty common. Matter of just sealing these areas, and certainly not a big deal. This type of fireplace, and how it's designed, isn't really designed to be operated with the glass doors closed, although many people do that. If you look at what a fire is and how it functions, it creates heat. The heat rises up. Well, there has to be a replacement of that air, and that comes from the living space. So if your glass doors are closed, you don't have the replacement of the air, so you're going to get improper combustion, and you're going to get a lot of smoke staining of the fireplace itself, which is what part of the smoke staining we see at that right side wall very likely is. Guesswork, of course. And when I look at a system, I'm looking for fire safety aspects, and I'm also looking for structural, any sort of sign of structural damage. Just because I can't get a chimney to move does not mean it is not damaged. So I still need to do the video. And then also I'm looking to make sure there aren't any surface cracks or cracks between basically the heat barrier itself, which in this case is a mortar coating. So we do have some cracking, what we call the smoke chamber area. And this is at the left side. I believe this is the left side. Yes. And over here we have the right side, and we have some there as well.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I'm just fascinated.
I'm going to pause recording. This right here is a crack that is approximately 4 feet above the top of the firebox. And what makes this, as I see it, pretty conclusive as far as damage to the structure is the fact that this crack is at the same level all the way around on all four sides. This is definitive as far as damage to a structure. Now in this particular case, I cannot get any movement in the chimney. We also have a roof, a surrounding roof, that is right up against it and actually holding it in place, preventing me from moving it. If that roof were not there, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I would be able to get enough movement easily of this system to actually show you the crack open and close. Seems a little odd that I can say this with such confidence. I've just done so many inspections, and I've had that advantage so many times, and I get it every single time when I don't have any support of the roof, meaning I'm able to actually show the opening and closing. So from my perspective, as far as how many fireplace systems I've looked at, it's not a doubt as far as the fact that the system is damaged. It is considered structural, and it is considered fire safety. The reason it's considered fire safety is because no matter how small that crack may seem, well actually may be, because it's really, the system lifted up and then fell back on top of itself. So to many degrees, it's almost sealed. A hot enough fire will cause that crack to open up. to some degree to allow heat to pass through, and fires have occurred as a result. However rare they are, that's one of the reasons why we have that standard and why it's considered fire safety. It is also considered structural safety because in theory, and this isn't completely true, but in theory we have unsupported masonry, because now it's two pieces, just kind of sitting on top of itself, waiting for an earthquake to cause shifting again. What will that earthquake do? Who the heck knows? There are many chimneys that are single wall masonry that were damaged before the 94 and they're still there. So it's kind of an unknown as far as what will cause the system to fall, etc. Highly unlikely that this one would, in my opinion. So one would minimally correct the fire safety aspect of it. The code requires removal. But if you want to use it and you don't want to remove it, well, you could, and actually be relatively safe, I believe. You could put a stainless steel liner within the system, and that creates a barrier that even movement of the chimney is not going to penetrate. Obviously, an excessive amount of movement could damage the liner, but we're talking your typical movement is just not going to affect that liner. One could also get an engineer involved and get a permit and probably put some bracing on there, et cetera, to help stabilize the chimney. And in all likelihood, you would have a system that would last and last for years to come. Again, there's definitely some unknowns in the realm of masonry structures and what they will do. All we can do is basically spout off standards and try to make a recommendation based on that, and then you get to decide what to do. Ensure you review my written report for all my findings and recommendations.